I was born in Tampa, Florida, and at the age of 3, I moved to Philadelphia, and much of my life began to unravel, through parenting and mental health issues that were systemic to not just my family, but the environment that we grew up in. My mother was struggling with some things, and my father was struggling with some things, and so eventually they separated. And from that point in my life, I grew up in foster homes. As a kid, growing up, wondering where your parents are, when are your parents going to come to visit you, what happened to your brothers and sisters. You wonder about, you try to deal with, you try to adapt to, and that was part of my development into the person I would ultimately become as a father, as a police officer, as a citizen of these United States. I believe very strongly that a lot of children dealing with their environment and being tossed into an environment where there's confusion, unpredictability. Many kids have a tendency to shut off their emotions. And so for me, I think that was another part of my life that, I learned to deal with and learned to develop a feeling of not caring. It can go in many different directions. Number one, kids who don't want to feel anything, they could be isolated. They could be, an introvert, and not speak. And then you have other kids collectively who feel that they don't want to feel anything, but they share a support system together. They become a support group for each other, and they call that a gang.
Yeah.
Collectively, those children grow up, and they feel that the adults in their lives are not connected to their emotional development.
So let's talk about the Fatherhood Initiative. This initiative has been started several times. What makes this one different, do you think?
The time. We're at a crossroads in our country. The police cannot arrest their way out of this problem. We cannot. It literally takes a community which has a lot of resources. How do we utilize those resources to deal with the problem of youth violence? Kids do to society what's been done to them. Kids do to society what's been done to them. Violence is outward anger. Violence is outward depression. Violence is outward expression that here I am on this earth and I've been brought here. Why am I here? And no one's connected me to my purpose for being here. And so my acting out behavior is an acting out behavior because there's a disconnection to my purpose. And so here is the greatest resource that we have amongst us, which is our children. They're the greatest things that we've ever seen in our lives. And some of us have neglected to do what God asked us to do, which is to take care and to nurture and to come into a community with the female of how we want to work and take care and protect these kids. And so the outward violence that we're seeing being displayed in our community, those kids, if you research their history, they have undergone some level of trauma or abuse. And they're just acting out what's happened to them.
You wrote on protecting our children from violence, quote, any community that fails to nurture its children with love, protect them from violence and harm, educate and teach them the importance of self-identity, their responsibility of freedom, and the significance of exercising justice for all, lacks the purpose and vision for its own self-existence.
I said that?
You did. So what's the solution to all this?
There's really no other solution other than God. There's really no other solution. We have a charge as men. How are you building positive relationships? How are you building a healthy family? How are we building healthy children? The relationship between couples is the foundation of America. And when the foundation of America is crumbling, it's because the foundation of couples is also crumbling. because it's predicated on the relationships between people. And if the relationships between people is crumbling, even to the point where they can't disagree intelligently within the household, what does that say about America and its future? So the solution to the problem is God has to be the mediator of our disputes.
Amen.
That's it. I think for me as a father, that most of the time we're just trying to help men reestablish themselves as men, and to be able to help them along the path. There's so many things that hurt men, and I don't want to see men hurt. I don't want to see men broken. I don't want to see men blamed for the fact that they're men. You know, we see it in family court a lot. We see in different situations where men are just broken, you know. And, you know, we want to be able to restore and help men along the path of becoming men. We know that many of our kids have been ruined by bad relationships. Well, the statistics also show that kids can be healed by positive relationships. Yes. Even people under the sound of our voice right now, this is going to touch somebody's heart. Amen. And that's what we want. We don't want people who are perfect. God don't deal with people who are perfect because they're perfect and they don't need to change. We're talking about men who are broken, like, you know, men who need help like us.